Hello, we're back again with Fowl Play. It's been a month, I tell you, and it's been a month for you folks too. It's really been 3 months. I mean, if you look back, starting in December, we started with the subarctic temperatures, and we lived with that for a couple months, and then warmed up a little bit, and then it stormed really bad. And the storms really flooded the whole farm. Ducks loved it. Have a duck that's limping too, and we're not really sure why. One of our girls is limping. We can't find any obvious injury on her. It is March 22nd, I think, and it's officially spring. We let everybody out today, including the doggos, and they are loving, they meaning the chickens and the guinea birds, the hens and the roosters are loving their dust baths. Able to get out and take a proper dust bath. And there's our limping girl right there. We picked her up and we looked at her. We just can't find any injuries on her. We don't know why she's limping, poor baby. We try to isolate her, but she's just following her boys and following her girls. So we'll be watching her pretty close for the next few days. We've had some other sick hens too that we've nurtured back to health. I won't go into the long details, but Maggie was sick with something that she ate that could have been life-threatening, and she actually ended up able to pass that piece of material that she ate, which was an aloe vera leaf. It really could have torn up her gut, and she was able to pass it, and we didn't find any permanent injuries, but she was moving slow for a couple days. And little Oreo was moving slow too. She was moping around, moving slow, and we isolated her for a couple days and gave her some good nutrition, and she recovered. So we've been trying to do damage control like many of you, and so many of you had storms again. What weren't storms here were just straight line winds. Take a look. I have no words. And because of the winds, we really didn't have storms with this last but we keep having red flag warnings. Just, you see that, let me zoom back out. You see the burn pile is piling up. We had logs and limbs down everywhere, and our son-in-law Justin, he came out with the chainsaw. He really helped me get a lot of those trees down, which would take me forever to get to. We've already got wood starting to stack up for next year. That is full across the way there with the blue tarp on it, left over from winter. And so it's damage control. I'm having farm ADD right now because so many things we didn't get done in the last fall when I was recovering from transplant surgery. So we did clean out the coop, me and Mrs. Fowl Play. We didn't get really the runs cleaned out, but we got the main coop cleaned out, scrubbed down, kind of cleaned out, and got everybody dust bathed. When I say dust bathed, we do it with diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is a great way, a natural way to defend against mites. We didn't see any mites on any of our birds, which was really good news. But we dusted them anyway, and really made an effort to, like I said, to clean up the coop. So our hands have been really tied up over this last few weeks since you saw us last, and I think that was the blizzard. So we've gone from having a blizzard to spring. So we feel really good about the condition of the coop at this point. we've washed curtains and washed things down and wiped things down, and that we feel like that really lends to the health of our birds. Unfortunately, we didn't get to the runs, but we will, maybe more towards late spring. The north run is still buttoned up. I'm not convinced, because we've had these horrible south 70-mile-an-hour winds and red flag warnings day after day after day. I've only opened up part of the south run, and I'm leery about taking too much down based on what could still happen in winter. Are we going to have more severe storms potentially? So for now, I'm leaving this up. I had to concentrate on zooming out there. And we're opening things up slowly to get more air, and that's typically what we do. But again, I'm really reticent after in the fall we had severe storms that literally blew so much water into the coop from the south that the hens were soaked and the coop was soaked and the runs were soaked. I mean, they get a little bit wet anyway because they're exposed, with the hardwood cloth exposed when they don't have drapes over them. So they will drip with some water, and that's, again, we expect that. But when it blows completely in here all the way through the whole coop, all the way over here, that's not healthy for the birds. It's not really safe for the coop, but it's not healthy for the birds at all, for them to be in those kind of conditions when they theoretically should be inside. So that's what we're working on. We've been riding bikes. Take a look. Say something profound.
I was just daydreaming, that's all. I looked up and you're recording me. Something profound. Every day's a good day to be on the bike.
Okay. Well said. And in the last video, we talked about bike across Kansas, so we are working on our training. Got a lot of work to do still, but I'm grateful that I'm well enough to do it. I told my doctor the other day, and he said, how things going? And I started talking about the farm and sick birds, sick ducks, and I said, you know what, doctor? I said, I guess if I'm talking about my farm and sick animals and sick birds, and that's what I'm concentrating on, I guess, and I'm not complaining about my kidney or other things. Got a right knee thing that's acting up, but we're working on it. I said, I guess that's good news. Yes, we have babies. Chicks are exceedingly hard to find right now. And we called one of the local farm stores. We called several and checked several in Wichita too, and they were either immediately sold out or most of them were reserved. So we hustled around, went to one of our local stores. They had 7 left, and then our neighbor found out that one of the hatcheries was bringing some chicks to a local town here in southeast Kansas, and we were away. And when we arrived home, she brought us over 10 chicks. So we have 17 right now. We go over the breeds and things, and maybe in another video, and we can talk about which ones are roosters and which ones are pullets. But we did end up with some babies, and right now everybody is scrambling, but ching. I'll be here all week, really. Leave a nice gratuities for your waiter and waitress on the way out.
Jazzy May. My little garden chicken girls.
Dixie has always been the little gardener. You bring out anything that moves the dirt, and she's right there.
Or she's pacing the fence, wanting to get out where I am.
And Clemmy's not far behind.
Huh? You gonna help me? Are you really helping? Yeah, there's your help. I saw that. How am I supposed to get anything? Look, there's a good worm. Okay, you dig it out now a little bit.
In the previous segment, I showed you one of our ducks that was limping, and today is March 26th. I've worked with this girl for days now. I've isolated her in the duck house. I think I showed you in the segment. I've done hydrotherapy with her, make sure she swims every day, and give her extra nutrition in her water, some niacin especially. But she, over this last 4 days, has not improved. And this is one of those hard days on the farm, when we have to make a decision. If an animal's suffering, and I've literally done everything I know to do for her, then we have to say goodbye. You see her there, just kind of tucked in on herself, and ducks do that, but she is not putting any weight on her left leg. We can't find any injury. I think it's up in her hip, maybe. And I read somewhere that ducks can get a slipped tendon, and they can start limping from maybe a niacin deficiency. All the other ducks seem to be just fine. I think she has a slipped tendon, honestly, and there's not going to be much more we can do for her. I could take her to the vet. I don't think the vet could really do very much. And that's my nursing opinion too. I'm looking at this through the eyes of a nurse. And as far as like doing everything that we know in supportive care for this little creature, and this is one of those days where it gets really hard. And you can probably hear some emotion in my voice. And yes, you know, it's a duck. And yes, we raise birds for meat. And we've talked about that many, many times on the farm. You know, the birds we love and some of the birds we process for. We've talked about those issues. This is a little one we've had since hatchling, and she trusts us, and she knows we're going to take care of her, and I've really done the best I can for her. She's not eating well now. I know I went ahead and let her out this morning with the other ducks so she could kind of feel normal, make sure she gets out in the sun a little bit before we say goodbye to her. And I'm going to love on her too. I'm going to hug on her and before we say goodbye. So this is Dan with Fowl Play.